Merced's Spring Commencement Ceremony. At this time, we ask that you please fill in available seats towards the middle of your row to permit easier access to seating for the guests that have yet to arrive. We also ask that you please turn off or silence your cell phone. Thank you for your cooperation. As we prepare to begin the ceremony, the academic procession, led by the Grand Marshal and candidates, will make their way into the venue. Now I leave you to enjoy a moment of anticipation as the formal procession is about to begin.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break.
One of these customs is the academic procession. Today's procession will feature 3 distinct groups. First to enter the venue will be the candidates for graduation. They will be led by the Grand Marshal, Matthew Hibbing, Chair of the Academic Senate, carrying the University Mace. Next to enter the venue are the faculty representing the University of California, Merced. Next to enter the venue are the faculty representing the graduate division. The final group to enter the venue is the official party, led by Chancellor Juan Sanchez Munoz.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Betsy Dumont, Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost, and I welcome all of you to the University of California, Merced Spring Graduate Division Commencement. It's my pleasure to introduce Richard Soskin Edwards to perform the national anthem tonight. Richard is a computer science major who will be graduating and participating in Sunday morning ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your caps.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting midair, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Richard. At this time, we invite you to please take your seats. It is now my great pleasure to welcome to the podium the Chancellor of University of California, Merced, Dr. Juan Sanchez Munoz.
Thank you, Provost Dumont. Thank you very much. Good evening. Welcome graduating students, families, and friends, faculty, staff, university well-wishers to your spring 2024 commencement. Les doy las bienvenidas a todos a esta celebración. Graduates and guests, the assembled leadership of UC Merced is with us this evening. University leaders, please stand and remain standing as I call all names, beginning with Dr. Betsy Dumont, Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost. Cesar Alvarado Gil, Chief Campus Counsel. Brenda Emerson Hill, Interim Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Management. Dr. Heather Bortfield, Interim Dean of the School of Social Sciences and Humanities and Arts. Nick Dugan, Vice Chancellor and Chief Information Officer. Dr. Michael Finlander, Interim Dean of the School of Natural Sciences. Dr. Rakesh Goel, Dean of the School of Engineering. Dr. Tom Hansford, Vice Provost for Academic Personnel. Dr. Matthew Hibbing, Chair of the Academic Senate. Dr. Harat Harashian, Dean of Graduate Studies. Haipeng Li, University Librarian. Dr. Charles Neese, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Dr. Dan Okoli, Vice Chancellor and Chief Operating Officer. Dr. Luana Putney, Associate Vice Chancellor and Chief of Staff to the Chancellor. Dr. Delia Sainz, Vice Chancellor and Chief Diversity Officer. Dr. Kurt Sneer, Vice Chancellor and Chief Financial Officer. Dr. Christina Spitzmuller, Vice Provost for Academic Affairs and Strategy. Dr. Brian Utter, Interim Vice Provost and Dean of Undergraduate Education. And Dr. Jillian Wilson, Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation, and Economic Development. And we are joined today by Regent Keith Ellis. Thank you for standing witness to this historic moment, UC Merced Spring 2024 Graduate Student Commencement Ceremony. Thank you all. The greatest satisfaction we have in the academic profession is to guide our students as they learn, as they grow, as they graduate, and expand their horizons. So many outstanding faculty have taught and mentored our students. I'd like us to recognize these world-class educators and researchers for their commitment to excellence and for imparting their knowledge and love of learning to our graduates, the ones that we are celebrating this evening. Members of the UC Merced faculty, please stand and be recognized. We thank you very much. And let us also acknowledge the dedicated staff without whom university supporting students and student success and excellence could not take place. So a round of applause for all the staff that are helping with tonight's. Thank you very much. Family and friends of these graduating students, I would like us to take a moment to recognize you for your role that you've played in making this day possible. Your support has been essential, and I encourage our graduates, not merely today, but throughout their lives and careers, to give thanks to all those who have helped on their journey. Graduates, let me ask you to please stand and turn around, or turn to the left or to the right, and join me in a round of applause for all your families and friends here tonight. Please stand. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Graduating students, again, congratulations and welcome to your commencement ceremony. Today is a day to focus on you, your accomplishments, your success, and your bright futures. Today you graduate from UC Merced, one of the great campuses of the greatest public research university system in the world. You have powered through challenges and overcome obstacles, and you leave UC Merced more prepared than ever to succeed in your career and in your lives. You will contribute to a world that needs your ideas, it needs your problem-solving abilities, your passion for excellence, your willingness to explore, to create, and to innovate. And some of you came to Merced with some doubts to overcome and with many competing priorities and challenges in your life that may have hindered your education and your pursuit, but it didn't, and tonight is indicative of that. So let me ask you, if you had to work while earning your degree, your graduate degree, raise your hand if you had to work. And if you had to support a family while attending UC Merced for this graduate degree, raise 2 hands. And if you're the first in your family to receive a graduate degree, let me ask you to stand up. Now let me ask the rest of you to stand up. Join me in welcoming and celebrating this amazing class of graduates. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Whatever your background, whatever your challenge, whatever your initial doubts were, each of you sustained a faith in your ability. You held fast to the belief that you had important things to accomplish. And with your UC Merced education, you will contribute significantly to a global community, not just here, but everywhere in the world. And you've seen your lives transformed and your futures opened wide by the attainment of a graduate degree from the University of California, a very rare and universally celebrated milestone. And just look at what you have accomplished. You became advanced scholars of distinction, determining and shaping your own educational experience and where it will lead you. The intelligence and determination you brought to and amplified on our campus and in our communities will continue to serve you throughout your lives and continue to burnish the reputation of our institution. Whatever is your next step, embrace the intrepid spirit that is emblematic of the UC Merced experience. I invite you to step into a world with great conviction and resolve, with intelligence, but also with humility, at a moment in our history that is in need of those qualities and is eagerly awaiting your vision for the future. My role today as Chancellor of UC Merced, and indeed my great honor and privilege, is to congratulate each and every one of you on behalf of this truly magnificent university. And so it is with heartfelt joy to you and your loved ones and with great hope for our shared future that I say again, congratulations. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, the Honorable Azmarit Asfar Behe. Dr. Behe has returned to UC Merced after serving 2 years as director of the U.S. Department of Energy's Office of Science upon appointment by President Biden and confirmation by the U.S. Senate. Dr. Behe is a professor of soil biogeochemistry. I asked her if that was correct. She said yes. It's a field. And is the Ted and Jan Velasco Chair in Earth Sciences in the Department of Life and Environmental Sciences and former Associate Dean of Graduate Education at UC Merced. She researches the intersection of soil science and geochemistry, global change science, and political ecology. Her work seeks to improve the understanding of how soil systems regulate the Earth climate and the dynamic two-way relationship between soil and human communities. Impressive. She's an elected member of the U.S. Academy of Engineering, a fellow of the American Geophysics Union and the Geological Society of America, and a recipient of the very prestigious National Science Foundation Career Award, and member of the inaugural class of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, New Voices in Science, Engineering, and Medicine. She earned her bachelor's degree from the University of Asmara, a master's from Michigan State, and her PhD from the University of California, Berkeley. Please join me in welcoming the eminent science scholar and member of the UC Merced community, Dr. Behe.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chancellor Munoz, for that very kind introduction. Everybody, really, really delighted to be here. But first, let me start by thanking Chancellor Munoz, Provost Dumont, members of the faculty and staff, faculty, family members, and friends, and really want to congratulate the graduating class of 2024. It is my great honor and privilege to speak to you today as we celebrate this momentous occasion. I want to say congratulations to all the graduates and your families. This is a very special graduating class. COVID-19 profoundly disrupted your academic journey. Many of you lost access to research resources, faced numerous delays, and had to rethink your plans. But you persevered through immense challenges. For that, I say the graduates and all the people who supported you through all of that deserve a resounding applause. Tonight, I'll share with you 2 lessons that have served me well. 1, never stop learning and use education to uplift others. And 2nd, invest in building and nurturing a supportive professional network. It may sound odd that I'm advising you to continue learning on the day we're celebrating the end of your formal education, at least for some of you. But remember that you are now among the less than 15% of adults above the age of 25 in the US, and a tiny fraction of the world population who have earned advanced degrees. One of the most important ways to give back to the community that allowed you to enjoy the gift of education is to share it with the world. As a soil biogeochemistry professor, soil is the most important focal point for my lifelong learning. I love soil. And sometimes when I tell people that I love soil, they start thinking, sometimes out loud, is she really saying she loves dirt? The stuff under our foot? But over 3 decades after I started learning about soil, I'm regularly amazed by the cool things I still learn about soil and the earth system. Soil enables life, regulates climate, hosts abundant life forms, and is foundational to human and national security. So yeah, learning about the amazing world of soil has propelled my career to heights I could not have dreamt of when I was younger. And I love sharing the wonders of soil with the world. Growing up, I was fortunate to have 2 incredible parents who instilled in me a love of education and respect for knowledge. They taught me to always aim high. My late dad used to say in Tigrinya, in my mother tongue, Tamaharu, timirti utizal alam zaybarras habti, which roughly translates to mean seek education. Education is the only lasting wealth. Now that you've received this wealth, this gift of education, I hope you will continue to learn and do everything you can to share it with those around you, wherever life takes you. The second lesson I want to share with the graduating class is on the power of teamwork, collaboration, and professional networks. In today's world, the most consequential work emerges from diverse teams collaborating across disciplines. Scholars and other professionals who are part of positive, uplifting networks are more likely to go far and accomplish more significant things. And the most critical problems our world faces right now, the ones your generation is being called upon to address, are far too big for individuals, or even individual disciplines. For example, today's energy and climate challenge require more than scientific and technological solutions. To avoid repeating past errors, we must also consider social, economic, and environmental justice aspects. So continue to broaden your networks and your horizons so that you can collaborate and communicate with one another to meet the critical challenge of our time. As I say this, I also want to remind you that you must be purposeful in building and nurturing the professional community you wish to be part of. I always advise early career researchers and students to invest in building and nurturing a supportive community for themselves, because I wouldn't be where I am today without my village. My family, mentors, colleagues, collaborators, and more. I know the difference having a supportive community makes, as I didn't always have it, especially in the academy. See, I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Africa, in East Africa in particular, on the coast of the Red Sea. I came to the US from Eritrea, this beautiful part of the world. However, where I grew up, access to postgraduate education was non-existent. Not to mention that for most of my life and longer, the region has been consumed with wars and political instability that have caused immeasurable losses of life and opportunities for multiple generations. I became one of the lucky ones who escaped the horrors of war. But when I came to the US and joined graduate school, I was far removed from my support network and had to start from scratch. I even faced bias. I was told I didn't have the right pedigree for graduate education in the US because I came from Africa. Unfortunately, some people don't appreciate that talent and genius are abundant everywhere, in every community, in every part of the world. What many people in my part of the world, or just the other part of town, lack is access to resources and opportunities to education. But I was always intimately aware of this. I grew up observing firsthand the transformative power of education. Both my parents are first-generation middle school graduates. They both received college degrees while working to support their respective families and later raising 6 kids. Their education altered life trajectories across our entire community, including mine, of course. So let's continue to share the wealth of education. As someone who grew up wanting to be a professor, I'm so fortunate to learn and teach for a living. One of my passions in my job has always been advocating for equity and inclusion of people from all walks of life in the academy. That is what compelled me to accept the invitation I received over 3 years ago to join the Biden-Harris administration as the director of the US Department of Energy's Office of Science, a job I was doing until a few weeks ago. For those unfamiliar with this office, it is one of the largest science funding agencies in the nation. In this role, I was able to help set priorities to drive part of the nation's science and technology engine. I oversaw an office with a budget of over $8 billion, the operations of 10 national laboratories, and the work of over 25,000 strong federal scientific workforce. I oversaw work at 28 national scientific user facilities, including the nation's most powerful high-performance computing systems, particle accelerators, light sources, nanoscience and genomic science centers, and more. And I'm the very first person of color to hold this position. Stating this fact, though, in the year 2024, is not necessarily just a point of pride. Instead, it's a damning indictment of the lack of diversity in the scientific workforce. As a Black woman, earth scientist, immigrant, and a mother, I defy stereotypes of what a scientific leader should look like, especially in the science and engineering fields. But let the fact that I'm standing in front of you today remind you that we can all achieve remarkable feats with access to education and perseverance. And when you leave here, I'm confident that you'll accomplish incredible things in your chosen professions. But you might also encounter, as I have, people who might make you feel unwelcome in specific professional spaces. Boldly venture into those spaces anyway. When you break barriers, some might even try to discount your outstanding accomplishments, scientific or otherwise. I've lost track of the number of times people have reduced my accomplishments to a buzzword, diversity or DEI. Strive to smash all the barriers anyway. Aim high. Don't be constrained by other people's limited imagination of your potential. And always strive to be a compassionate human who seeks to do good, no matter what others might have done to you. Choose collaboration over competition, and remember to build and nurture a community that supports you. And if at any point you fall down, remember this: the ground is covered by life-giving soil. A seed that falls to the ground thrives by being resourceful, by mining the soil for life-giving nourishment and water. The seed grows from the ground up and may become a flower, a grain, or even a giant sequoia. So if you find yourself on the ground, be like the seed. Plant your feet firmly on the soil and rise up. Go forth and do good. We're all incredibly proud of what you've accomplished. Go Bobcats! Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Berhe. Graduates, we're now at the moment that you've been waiting for, the conferral of your degrees. The degrees conferred by the University of California attest to scholastic achievement and thus represent the fulfillment of the university's primary responsibility of teaching. As a reminder, degrees will be officially awarded following certification by the Office of the Registrar that all requirements have been satisfied. First, we will confer the doctoral degrees, followed by the master's degrees. At this time, I'd like to invite Chancellor Munoz and Vice Provost and Graduate Dean Dr. Hrant Harachian to the podium for the conferral of graduate degrees. Thank you for your patience as we recognize each of our graduates.
Will the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy please rise? Chancellor Munoz, I am honored to present these candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
Thank you. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I confer upon you your degree, Doctorate of Philosophy, with all the insignia, all of the honors, all of the privileges and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Doctoral candidates and faculty advisors, please proceed to the stage.
Now presenting the doctoral degree recipients for the School of Engineering.
Han Guo, to be hooded by Professor Roger Bales. B. Hope Hauptman, to be hooded by Professor Colleen Naughton. Naivi Denise Rodal Morales, to be hooded by Professor Mark Butel. Gustavo Facincani Dorado, to be hooded by Professor Joshua Veers. Brittany Lopez Barreto, to be hooded by Professor Aaron Hester. Samraija Tapa, to be hooded by Professor Leroy Westerling. Anshika Kandwe, to be hooded by Professor Martha Conklin. Li Ying Lee, to be hooded by Professor Josue Medellin Azuara. Wenyan Wan, to be hooded by Professor Patricia Lee Wang. Kiana Shirzad, to be hooded by Professor Christopher Viney. C.D. Zhao, to be hooded by Professor Alexander Noy. Sergio Romero Garcia, to be hooded by Professor Ashley Martini. Folkrul Hassan Bouyan, to be hooded by Professor Ashley Martini. Wei Wu, to be hooded by Professor Mehmet Baykara. Marit Unjue Chakur, to be hooded by Professor Poya Abel Chuang. Merad Mortasavi, to be hooded by Professor Reza Ehsani. Saurav Gautman, to be hooded by Professor Venkatraman Ayaswamy. Xinzhong Jing, to be hooded by Professor Juan Du. Carlos Diaz Alvarenga, to be hooded by Professor Stefano Carpin.
Azin Shamshiragaran, hooded by Professor Stefano Carpin. Lorenzo Ade Booth, hooded by Professor Stefano Carpin. D. An, hooded by Professor Yongquan Chen. Furkan Guj, hooded by Professor Yongquan Chen. Mahmoud Abido, hooded by Professor Sarah Kurtz.
This concludes the presentation of doctoral degree recipients for the School of Engineering.
Aaron Wheeler, hooded by Professor Sarah Kurtz. Alana C. Wheeler, hooded by Professor Linda Hurst. Nabara Pokrel, hooded by Professor Elizabeth Noadwick. Patrick Noer, hooded by Professor Kinjal Dasbiswas. Albert Di Benedetto III, hooded by Professor J. Sharping. Samuel Erickson, hooded by Professor Sayantani Ghosh. Jordan Collingdon, hooded by Professor Suzanne Cindy. Maya Powell, hooded by Professor Arnold Kim. Zachary Petrick, hooded by Professor Tao Yi. Karina Guadalupe, hooded by Professor Tao Yi. Caleb Larnard, hooded by Professor Fred Wolf. Nastaran Abbasizadeh, hooded by Professor Joel Spencer. Susanna Tejeda Garibay, hooded by Professor Katrina Hoyer. Dora Mendez, hooded by Professor Rudy Ortiz. Austin Perry, hooded by Professor Clarissa Nobile. Harrison Ho, hooded by Professor Zeng Wang.
This concludes the presentation of doctoral degree recipients for the School of Natural Sciences.
Alex Dyer, hooded by Professor Carolyn Jennings. Joshua Samarijan, hooded by Professor Robin DeLugan. Hugo Alberto Lopez Chaboya, hooded by Professor Robin DeLugan. Andrew Sanchez Garcia, hooded by Professor David Roof. Shiloh Green Soto, hooded by Professor David Roof. Ivan Gonzalez Soto, hooded by Professor Mario Cifuentes.
Lorraine Ramos, hooded by Professor Dalia Magana. Jamie Moore, hooded by Professor Ann Zanzuki. Tabesh Zaidi. Hooded by Professor Sean Malloy. Scott Nicolay, hooded by Professor Holly Moyes. Allison Tamorian, hooded by Professors Anna Song and Anna Esperson. Bianca Hinojosa, hooded by Professor Jennifer Howell. Angela Johnson, hooded by Professor Jennifer Howell. Avia Gray, hooded by Professor Jennifer Howell. Kaylin McNally Starr, hooded by Professor Martin Haggard. Luca Liho, hooded by Professor Sarah DePauli. Adi Fish Williamson, hooded by Professor Jennifer Hahn Holbrook. Kimberly Valle, hooded by Professor Asa Bradman. Hilda Yvette Zarate Gonzalez, hooded by Professor Paul Brown. Rudiel Fabian Sanchez, hooded by Professor Paul Brown. Carlisha Hall, hooded by Professor Cedra Goldman Mayor. Kimberly Daphne Sanchez, hooded by Professor Karina Diaz Rios. Renee Becerra, hooded by Professor Nella Van Dyke. Giovanna Ramos, hooded by Professor Irene Beatty. Melissa Quesada, hooded by Professor Irene Beatty. Heather Daniels, hooded by Professor Irene Beatty.
This concludes the presentation of doctoral degree recipients.
So please join me one more time in congratulating our newest doctoral degree recipients. Congrats. We will now confer the master's degrees. So will the master's degree candidates please rise? Chancellor Munoz, I am pleased to present these candidates for the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, or Master of Management.
Thank you. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents of the University of California, I confer upon you the degree of Masters of Art, Masters of Science, or Masters of Management, with all the insignia, all the rights, all the honors and privileges and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Master's degree recipients, please proceed to the stage.
Now presenting the master's degree recipients for the School of Engineering.
Jasmine Estrada. Xiaoyi Cheng. Myra Romero. Shrija Reddy. Tyler Fears. Varvara Fedorova. Michael Pineda. Brian Matamet Salas. Jianan Chen. Taijul D. Wolf Mora. Kutai Ozurit. Eddie Santiago. Jose Arturo Morales. Cinderella Mustafa.
This concludes the presentation of master's degree recipients for the School of Engineering. Now presenting the master's degree recipients for the School of Natural Sciences.
Rambod Rezayan.
This concludes the presentation of master's degree recipients for the School of Natural Sciences. Now presenting the master's degree recipients for the School of Social Sciences, Humanities, and Arts.
Mackenzie Gilbert. Benjamin Robbins. David Parker. Tegan Zuniga. Dylan Richardson. Nancy Rodas de Leon. Sejin Lee. Sneha Jamari. Gianna Williams. Marissa Moline. Claudia Johnson Madrigal.
This concludes the presentation of master's degree recipients.
All right, please join me in congratulating our newest master's degree recipients. Having celebrated the conferral of your graduate degrees, I'd like to briefly provide some perspective on the accomplishment we celebrate today and share a few additional thoughts. Think of this as a final lecture of the semester from the graduate dean. So I'm gonna start by putting today's accomplishment into a little bit of perspective. We heard some of this from our speaker earlier. But you are now the most recent recipients of graduate degrees from the University of California, the nation's premier public university system and the world's exemplar of graduate education. You've worked hard to get where you are today, and we are now proud to count you among the University of California's master's and doctoral alumni. You have much to be proud of. Let's also connect some numbers to all of this, and you've heard this earlier. One data point. Only about 15%, little less, of the adult population in America have a graduate degree of any sort. And for our PhD recipients, only 2% of our nation's adult population has earned a doctorate. So your accomplishments today put you in a sort of rarefied air. And I want to share some thoughts that speak to the core features I believe are really packed into the conferral statement that Chancellor Munoz read just a few minutes ago, that your degrees confer upon you honors, privileges, and responsibilities. You've all rightly earned those honors and those privileges. And going forward, you are going to be asked to take on new responsibilities to advance civil society and the world around us. And that can seem heavy and it can seem daunting. But I want to offer a few words from a few key people from history to talk through this briefly. So the first is Arthur Ashe, the tennis great, who advised that whenever you're in a tough spot, you should start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. You have boldly advanced our understanding of the universe. You've dug deep in the ground. You've explored the depths of our shared humanity, and you've made the world around you better than you found it. And you've worked through complex, multidimensional questions by systematically identifying and addressing individual components, starting where you are, using what you have, and doing what you can. Keep that up going forward. The work ahead will be difficult and it will be challenging, but we know you can answer the call of today and whatever you face in the future. When you worry about getting started, recall what you've done to get here today. Through your discipline and your creativity, your work ethic and your intellectual rigor and boundless curiosity, and with the support of a lot of family, friends, peers, staff, and faculty, you have risen to the challenges put before you, and you've overcome one obstacle after another, and another, and another, whether those have been global pandemics, building closures, waiting on orders, whatever it is, you've met the challenge of the day, and you've tackled and overcome countless barriers to get where you have made it today through graduate school. So with your advanced degrees in hand and the letters behind your names, you will now decide where you want to take your talents next, what problems and questions you are going to focus those talents on. My advice is to learn from Henry David Thoreau, who told us that success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. It's easy to follow a fad, focus on those shiny objects, but it's courageous to think hard about difficult problems, to embrace humility, to learn from the lived experiences of others, and to speak for those who have less privilege than you. Don't look for success. Look to do good, and let success find you when you are busily making the world better for those who rely on you to answer the responsibility of the honors and privileges you've earned today and that we celebrate together. One final quote. This comes from Maya Angelou in her commencement address to the class of '77 at UC Riverside. She said, "I encourage you to live with life, be courageous, adventurous. Give us a tomorrow more than we deserve." A tomorrow more than we deserve. So on behalf of the graduate division team, all the staff and the faculty and the schools and our colleagues around the entire campus, I want to share our gratitude and our thanks to you for the opportunity to walk with you in your journey these last few years. It has been an exceptional honor and an outstanding privilege to learn and to grow with you, and we are all immensely proud of everything you've done and can't wait to see what you do next. So one last time, congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Arashi, for that wonderful set of remarks and quotes from those magnificent people. Thank you all for joining us as we mark this momentous and joyous occasion in the lives of these brilliant scholars and future leaders. Once more, on behalf of the University of California Regents, our faculty, our staff, congratulations. UC Merced graduates, as you make your way from this ceremony in this field, let your hard-won knowledge and fond memories of UC Merced guide you in your life's pursuit. While you graduate today with these graduate degrees, you will always be welcome here at UC Merced. You and your families, always welcome here at UC Merced. You are forever part of UC Merced, and now for all of you, UC Merced is forever a part of you. We ask you that you remain in your seats while the Grand Marshal, official party, faculty, and graduates leave the venue. Once more, congratulations, una vez más, muchas felicidades. Congratulations all.